Hello, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC. And yeah, I don't know whether I should be really like happy or really I should be like definitely not happy at the same time because someone's lost a job. It's breaking news. Okay, you're. I think 1 second. Just give me a second. I kind of switched on the other one. I hope I'm audible right. So first of all, I'd like to welcome definitely on short notice it is, but Travis and Taron, two of my mates, of course, the Chelsea boys are here. Things have happened. Things have transpired. I was literally enjoying for a change a win of my cricket team, not of my football team, of course. And here we have news with the club statement coming. So first, Travis, first thoughts first. What I thought, like it was coming, right? No surprises there.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of imminent. I feel I've been very, very vocal in supporting Graham Potter, but I think after yesterday, it just started to feel inevitable. And seeing the statement, it feels that everything was being pitched as he will be given time, will be given time, and I think he was given time, and eventually just there's
Yeah.
was really not a sign of progression. And I think that moving forward is probably what most fans at this point wanted to see, and I think he lost most of them at this point. And I think you just don't really recover from that. Even if you go on a good run and then you start losing a few games again, it's just going to make everybody forget all of those terrible times again. So, I'm going to be excited to see what we do next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, thanks for Potter for what he did do. But, it kind of the facts are there. This just wasn't really working out anymore.
Exactly, exactly. Again, Taron, great to have you back. Of course, like we are just talking off stage. It's basically these kind of breaking news that happens at odd times, and of course, Taron, Travis, and among others, are always there for me. But Taron, your thoughts? I know that we've been kind of on this train, at least me and you for sure, for a while, as in we haven't been convinced, right, with Potter's tactics at times, but the timing of it is somewhat like if we anyway had to do that, wouldn't it have made more sense going it before the international break, before those three results? Or do you think the Dortmund result obviously was inevitable for him to stay for another couple of weeks?
Now, there was, for me, the writing was on the wall a few months ago. There was just about when you're going to do it. It doesn't really make a difference if you did it before the Dortmund, before Liverpool game. It was on the wall for many months. I think the main reason I'm looking at the timing now is the board were not seeing a replacement before. In my opinion, Enrique wasn't a realistic option. Pochettino, difficult option. There was no real clear path to who's going to come in. So, in my opinion, it happened with Tuchel. We didn't know who was going to come in, but Potter was clearly already spoken to. It was clearly going to happen the next step. So I think, in my opinion, the board have already contacted Nagelsmann. They've already decided that he's going to be the next manager, and they've decided to make the call now. Because if not, they wouldn't have just sacked him. They would have waited till the end of the season, then sacked him then. So, yeah, I think it was a cool way to happen. The timing was just about the replacement, and that's clear now. And I think Nagelsmann is way better suited to the job than Potter. And people who are saying that Nagelsmann and Potter are similar, I'm afraid you don't know football because they're really not. Yeah.
Absolutely. By the way, thanks to everyone who's tuned in. I know this literally, I don't know, like the third video in the 24 hours that we've done. But again, that's what Chelsea does to us. There is never a day as a Chelsea fan when you have a day of boredom. Let's be very honest about it. And I know, again, I don't want to hear big up to We Talk Football, Dugout Football Channel, other members, other subs, Darren, of course, Sanjeev, Messi's Goat, Anmoldeep, Gaurav, everyone here. Let's hit that like button. Yes, it's again. I know that some of us are maybe thinking the Chelsea fans are happy or rejoicing. I know the first reaction was okay, finally it's happened. But at the same time, we never, at least I am one of them who do not want to celebrate someone losing a job. Simply put, and I know he's going to be paid much, and as it's pretty much. Travis, I think I hear that again, Arsenal fans are already tweeting about it. But the fact that we've sacked Tuchel, we've sacked Potter, of course, the Brighton staff is still there. And for people who do not know the club statement I put down, I think Bruno Salter, who was a coach while Potter was at the helm, is going to be taking up as interim coach, similar to what, in a strange way, what Spurs are doing. But I'm sure you're not going to sack the rest of the Brighton part of the management, right? Otherwise, come on, already we are under losses. Maybe that's one reason that we've gone this way and we want to take our time before appointing the next manager. As Taron said, it was too early to appoint Potter in the first place.
Yeah, I think as far as having Salter come in, I mean, he was recently a player for Potter at Brighton, and he joined the staff and was senior player development coach. And so I think what they're doing is trying to get somebody that the players can relate to a bit more, they're familiar with. And he wasn't, it wasn't that long ago that he was a Premier League player himself, not that far removed from it. So maybe that's what they're thinking is. I'm not really sure, because I agree with you. It is strange to keep around a key remnant of the previous regime staff especially in this case when you're getting rid of the head guy and trying to keep one of his other ones on as your next coach. So I think the only thing is that they're just going to let this staff stay in place, because I think the key is if they get rid of all of Potter's staff, there's really nobody at all left. And I don't think that they want to go through that at this time of the season. So I think they're just going to probably see this out with his staff, get the new guy appointed, and then immediately start having that new person, whoever the new manager is, go through and assess who he's keeping, if anybody at all, and then get his appointments in so they can actually try to attempt a preseason with mostly a full staff. But I think that's probably their reasoning right now for doing that. I think there's pluses and minuses to both of those approaches, but at the end of the day, I don't know what choice they'd have if they just cleared the entire staff, because there'd be hardly anybody at all left. And I think maybe that kind of just signals things are, as far as how bad it was, that they're willing to take this risk now than continue with where things were. Which I think that
it could get worse, and that's the thing, Taron, because of the fact that you're Gaurav saying that 50 million dena padega. See, the point is, I think, Taron and me, I don't know, we've been discussing, I know, on tweets, etc., and we know that at least both of us, at least I have never been convinced. I was not like Potter out trained big time from a long time, but I was never convinced, and that's the honest truth, and everyone who follows the stream knows that as well. But I think somewhere down the line, yes, a lot of us thought that is because of Burley and co, their ego, the fact that Tuchel gave an interview just 2 days back. I know we are again talking about Tuchel, but the fact is, like, he clearly said that the meeting was about 5 minutes. It came all of a sudden. It was a shock. And this was someone who was kind of, managing club inside out when we were under sanctions, probably one of our lowest moments. So he was knowing exactly what was happening. So with that knee-jerk reaction, which basically Taron, Burley and took last time, maybe this time, the fact that we've invested so much in Potter and co in terms of money as well as the time factor. And once we've done that, they didn't want to do it the second time around. But now that they've done a second time around, maybe that's the thing for me. Like, they don't want to kind of, jump the gun and appoint anyone and everyone, because I just did a short earlier today. I was like, actually, if we, like, yes, Potter out, it's clearly written on the wall, Taron. But I was like, if you logically think about it, in the summer, you never know. There might be an availability of Ancelotti again. There might be an availability of a Klopp. You never know. I'm just saying, just putting out names there, Taron. So do you think that might have been one of the reasons, because it's mid-season again, the best of the best managers may not be available?
No, it's similar to what I said before in terms of Nagelsmann. I think they were just waiting for a top manager to be available. But I think with the Tuchel thing, people are saying Tuchel was the wrong sacking. And I think at the time, for the reasons that I saw especially, I think it was probably the right sacking at the time. It's just the fact that he was close to the club, but he lost the dressing room. There was many off-the-field stories about him. So I think that was probably the right timing. And the board will definitely learn from this. There's a new owners who are getting used to football. They clearly know how to run a good sports team, but realistically, they weren't going to make mistakes early on in their career. I'm happy it's come in the first year, so I'll know in the future not to make knee-jerk reactions, bring in people who are not experienced enough. So I'm very happy that that's over with, hopefully now. Hopefully we don't go for the likes of Pochettino and other more inexperienced managers, because that's just going to have a similar effect as it is now. So I'm looking at it as a learning lesson for the board, and they will see from now we're going to hire experienced managers who know how to deal with players. Because the Chelsea job is, in my opinion, like Mourinho said it, Conte said it, I believe, it's the hardest job in football. So you can't put a man like Graham Potter in the stage we're in, where we didn't really have the time for a rebuild with how our club's moving at the minute. So yeah, I think Nagelsmann has to come in very soon.
Exactly. And again, big up to everyone who's here. And in case you've not checked out Taron's link on Twitter, as well as basically Travis's link, I'm going to add them as well. But pretty sure, as in they've been channel a lot of times, so people, come on, CFCTaron is easy to follow. And I think Travis, I'll just kind of help out right away. But they know their stuff. And for just to introduce for people who don't know, these are two Chelsea Ultras. And I think Taron has been with the channel literally for when we were not even 100 subscribers. I know that. And Travis, not very far off as well. And we've been in touch for a long while now. And these guys know their stuff, especially Taron. Like, how's the scene? Like, of course, you staying there very closely, geographically, been to matches, the atmosphere. That's why maybe Taron is maybe putting that thing, right? Because the atmosphere around the bridge was telling, right, Taron?
Sorry. I think it's weird because every time I went to a game, I feel like I had a lucky charm. We always tend to win or draw. But in terms of like the atmosphere and the Matthew Harden low, especially, which, as you guys know, is the most atmospheric ultra.
So you didn't attend the match yesterday, did you?
Oh, no, I didn't know. No, I didn't
No
attend the match.
wonder we
Luckily,
lost. Now I know why we lost. Come on, Taron.
I was
That's
about
not
to
fair.
go to the game, but something told me not to go, like something in my head. So I was like, not going to go to this game. But yeah, every time the Matthew Harden low, especially, what I will say is atmosphere in the ground in terms of the last season with Lampard and Tuchel, extremely flat. Apart from the Dortmund game, which was crazy atmosphere for obvious reasons, nothing to do with Potter. If we put like any old random man from the street in charge for that game, the atmosphere would have been the same. But in terms of the atmosphere around the game, around the ground, it's so flat. In terms of the chants, people cheering, in terms of the energy towards the club, the connection to the players and the manager, it's completely cut off in this season, especially. The Matthew Harden low, especially, the chants coming out of that end is so low in terms of the vocal, and a lot of them are targeted towards Potter, especially recently. But from what I've seen from the Southampton game, the Aston Villa game, from people I speak to who went to that game, the animosity towards Potter was crazy. And there's one thing losing fans on Twitter and international fans, but if you lose the match-going fans as well, that's all the groups of fans together. All fans have an equal voice in football. Say sometimes managers, they'll have one end of the fan base that backs them, another end of the fan base. But when the people who actually go into the games as well are definitely wanting you out and sacked, that's just when you know it's time to cut ties, because like all fans have an even voice and even way of supporting the club. But if every single section is saying they want you to be sacked, then you can't really say anything. But yeah, overall atmosphere has been extremely flat for the whole season, really. No connection towards Potter, no connection towards his staff, no connection towards the players. And yeah, the writing was on the wall the whole time.
Yeah, and by the way, people asking about Bruno Salter. Yes, I just read out the club statement. So Bruno Salter basically is the next player who played pretty recently, I believe, for Brighton. Right, he was there in Brighton for a while. He was a defender, right back. Basically speaking, he was Chelsea coach under obviously Potter, and then basically joined Potter when Potter came here. That's how he came about, and now he's interim manager. So it's pretty. I know I don't want to say it, but it's pretty similar, not too dissimilar than that. How say Spurs have gone about in this space of time. But now talking about new manager full time again, I think Nagelsmann is a pretty obvious candidate. I know Fabricio has already said, Travis, that Nagelsmann is the preferred option. And I think pretty much sure we are going to wait till the summer. But again, for you, if your personal choice, if I had to put you, like, firstly, is there a perfect candidate available right now for you that you want to see? I know it's too soon, but again, what is your first thought?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a perfect candidate right now, because I think we're in a very transitional state as a club where we're kind of having a lot of younger players and we're still having these expectations to be winning a lot. And kind of the balance there is that, younger players haven't really gotten as many references and objective parts of the game from experience about winning titles in difficult leagues. They just don't have that as much. So they need more of a manager as a teacher in many ways, right? And then as opposed to a guy like a Mourinho or somebody like that comes in and wins now. So I think we're kind of between two worlds right now and trying to figure that out. So, but with that said, I think that there is a clear-cut person that comes in and fits that mold the best we can with what's available. And that's going to be somebody like Julian Nagelsmann or Maurizio Pochettino. Those are kind of the two people I would say fit that mold the best. I mean, you saw Pochettino do a similar job at Spurs in the late 2000s when he kind of had a very young but talented team and he took them to the kind of the highest level Spurs had ever gone to. I also by no means think that Pochettino would be a great appointment. I don't even think he would necessarily achieve a lot, but our options are pretty limited unless, Ancelotti opens up this season after Madrid.
You're reading my mind, bro. You're reading my mind. I think to be honest, that's why the question was the perfect candidate for me. He kind of ticks almost every box that I'm looking for. Ancelotti, as in I know Real Madrid fans, if anyone's going to watch it or watching it, I know they might give a lot of hate because he's the current Real Madrid manager. But the fact being that he knows Chelsea, he is someone who kind of commands respect. There are very few managers who actually do that. And Chelsea, for whatever, I love my club and love my players, but the fact is they need to be schooled. And that's why maybe Conte and Tuchel in a strange way did well, in my opinion. And I think someone who kind of commands respect is someone that they'll really play for at least in the first couple of seasons. And I'm hoping that is the thing. Plus the fact that actually the guy plays good football is one of the things identity we were looking for. And again, needless to be told that the guy is possibly going to be end his Real Madrid career for the time being. Taron, I don't know, Nagelsmann for you still?
The thing with Ancelotti is I think he relies on very experienced players to do well. I don't think right now we have the experience in our squad, maybe Thiago Silva and Kante. But apart from that, I don't think we really have the experience. I think Nagelsmann, for me, ticks every single box that you can throw at me, every single box. works with young players, attacking football, fluid in possession and out of possession, passionate, connects to the fans, connects to anyone who supports the club,
But
really.
is he, so sorry to cut you, Taran, but is he that
Yeah.
armor on the shoulder kind of manager? Because Ancelotti is a bit of both, right? He commands respect, but remember,
Yeah.
like for example, how Pulisic in the end got against Tuchel almost, right? It's well documented, right? Despite Tuchel initially, introducing him in Dortmund. So such kind of things won't talk. I know Ancelotti has a similar thing with Hazard, but at least it's not off the boil. So Nagelsmann has had that kind of relationship, say, with Neuer. I know that you said that not many senior players are there, but still, like we know that the club, the player power thing still exists at Chelsea, doesn't it?
But I think with Nagelsmann, he's worked at two big clubs. You can definitely say with the difference of Potter is he was good with young players, but in terms of Brighton, it's very different to Red Bull Leipzig and Bayern Munich. You look at players like Christopher Nkunku, players like kind of thing at the top, and Nuri Mukiele had a very good relationship with Nagelsmann. A lot of young players were developed by Nagelsmann at Leipzig, at Bayern Munich as well. Jamal Musiala, absolutely incredible under Nagelsmann. And I think he's proved it, in my opinion, so far, two big clubs, that he can work with young players and also deal with the experienced ones that they have. Maybe he had a few issues with Müller and Neuer towards the end of his career, but that was because they're absolutely crazy winners and they want to win every single game they can. I think with Chelsea, we can appreciate a few losses here and there, but if you have a manager who can combine the working with experienced players, young players, tactically fluid, connects to the fans, is transparent, doesn't lie to the media like a certain manager we've just had after every single press conference, I think Nagelsmann ticks every single box for me. I think we have to appoint him as soon as possible. And I don't think the board would have sacked Potter if he wasn't available right now. There must be some talks internally. So I think, get him in now. He's ideally the exact perfect manager for this job. Get him in now and deal with the rest later.
Okay, fair enough. And obviously, like again, the fact is, if Spurs and Chelsea are calling, I'm pretty sure he's going to opt for Chelsea. As in, I don't have any qualms there. But at the same time, your question coming, I know, by the way, Milan are, as in, one of the teams that I have a soft corner for is definitely doing one over Napoli. But let's be real, Napoli are winning Serie A, no two ways about it. But again, Jose Perfect, Conte. Like again, going back down that route, I know if Nagelsmann, by the way, there is a strong link of Nagelsmann to Real Madrid, Travis. I don't know if you've heard that. So that is something that Real Madrid, folks, subscribers are actually DMing me that, come on, leave him alone. You can take Enrique, you can take Conte back, Jose back, those kind of things. But as in again, for someone who understands the Chelsea DNA, like will we have an excuse, a ready-made excuse? Again, we know how Chelsea has been, dealing with some things in the recent past, right? I am okay. I'm perfectly fine with Nagelsmann. He's a very good coach. Of course, he's managed players at Bayern Munich nonetheless, and he's done pretty well. Almost unfair that he was sacked, to be honest, just because Tuchel is available. In a strange sense, like, will we be feeling that, okay, we have got Bayern Munich's reject here? At the same time, will we be able to just say that, okay, fine, he's someone who's not managed in the Premier League, you would like to get someone like him? Or you'll be like, no, go old school, just get our kind of season or seasons back together with someone who understands the DNA, like maybe a Jose or a Conte who kind of has that micromanagement, just get us back on track, make us solid, like how basically Tuchel did after Lampard, right? As in that route, as in what is the better route for Chelsea, you feel?
Yeah, I think I would have. I think, it'd be fun to have somebody like Jose or Conte back, or even Carlo, if that's somehow an option, if he does end up leaving Madrid and doesn't go to somewhere else like the Brazil national team or something like that. That might be more fun to kind of get us back to the Chelsea way. I'm going to say that I don't think that's kind of the route I would prefer myself. I think there are positives to that. I think you would probably get more short-term hit out of that. But I think as long as what we're trying to do and what the players we have, I think Taron kind of said it best with why Nagelsmann is also my top choice. I think he does just kind of do a lot of things really well. And I mean, he's been fast-tracked and look throughout his career and look at where he is and what he's done in some of the similar models. I mean, he's worked with people in our board now, right? As far as directors go, he's worked with them previously at Leipzig. And really, you think about what kind of model the board have talked about wanting to implement long-term, which is this multi-club model and kind of looking at already buying like clubs like Strasbourg. If we're going to have that structure arise, right, and have Nagelsmann kind of at the top of that structure, similar to what Leipzig was for Red Bull, then I think that you're getting a lot of people in place to repeat a similar club model, but with a lot more resources than what Red Bull ever had to work with. So getting those similar people in now to get this project up off the ground, and then maybe we kind of make shifts later to those other types of managers you talked about, those like proven, winners. You kind of know known commodities, know what they're going to give you in the Premier League. They've done it before. Maybe that's when we make that shift. And I thought that Potter was really going to be one of those people, but it didn't prove to be that way at all with him. I mean, it didn't work. So I think I would agree Nagelsmann's the top choice, but if we're going to go back to one of the old guys, I think if Carlo somehow gets available, that's definitely who I would target more than any of them.
That's
I think
the first priority in terms of
Conte is just too combustive right now.
Exactly.
And Jose might actually be not the worst option if it is an option.
If I'm not wrong, he still owns the house in London, right?
He might, yeah. I know it.
He always tells it in interviews still. I don't know why. I don't know what he means by saying that. I know he managed for Spurs and that was a crazy, ending as well. But here, as in Putin has been asking a question about the Real Madrid game. See, the timing, as in again, Tuchel, I understand it was coming, Taron, you said it. But for me, the timing there also was the thing that, okay, I think it was one day after the transfer window ended, if I remember right, or a couple of days after transfer window ended. And that's what surprised me in the Tuchel thing more than anything. I know it was the other way anyway coming. Yeah. But even this one, like we literally have a game against Liverpool. I know Premier League is almost gone, Taron. It doesn't really matter and all that. But technically or mathematically, we can still at least get top 6, which might actually, help us next season, maybe to get even a better manager, leave a better player, right? So with that, do you think about that Liverpool game and the Real Madrid game coming? Pretty sure Bruno Salter, with all respect to him, he's not going to be a Di Matteo, is he?
No, I honestly, I don't think he'll be in charge for the Madrid game. I really don't. I think the board will definitely have had someone lined up for the Real Madrid game. No way they'll let Bruno go in charge for that game. For the Liverpool game, I think obviously Bruno's going to be in charge. But in a long-term project, unless Bruno beats Liverpool 7-0, I highly doubt that he'll be in charge for the Madrid game. But no, I don't think he's an ex Di Matteo personally. I think it's a bit of a different story because obviously he had a bit more management experience and was a legend.
Yeah. And Di Matteo is all Chelsea, right? He's basically loved at Chelsea, and there was like the romantic story there. Like there's a difference there, right? He's one of those cult heroes that we had at Chelsea, and that's why maybe with John Terry of the likes, even the leadership group was different at Chelsea, right? So I hear you absolutely, 100% agree you. Enrique has the least chances to join Chelsea. He said he needs a well-versed project and something he wants to build open a already laid foundation. Something in Chelsea will be good without him. Again, with Enrique, with all due respect to him, I've never been super excited because I know that again, for me, whatever we agree or not, Todd Burley and co, they need not a yes man, but they don't want someone who kind of wants his way or the highway kind of thing. And I think Conte, Enrique, to some extent, are similar. One name that I've been throwing on the last few weeks, I don't know, Travis, you might want to say about what Zidane brings, right? Because I know it's different. Nagelsmann, obviously, the Vivell connection is there, the Leipzig connection, like you mentioned. But Zidane is someone that, again, who inspires. We're talking about Ancelotti, if not Nagelsmann, right? So Zidane is someone that I'm pretty sure players will be, looking forward to, motivated by themselves to play for Zidane. But again, the Premier League element, the English, the language element might be there. I believe he's been learning English as well. Not sure how true that is. But again, Zidane is not something that has been spoken too much of in the social media. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think that you kind of hit on it right there with the language barrier. That's kind of always what I've heard with him is he doesn't really want to manage in England. He doesn't want to have to speak English in that capacity. That's what I've always heard is exactly what you said is the main reasoning why. So I think part of that, and maybe just he doesn't see England as a good fit for him as far as how he manages. Because I mean, his career path was essentially the Real Madrid B team to taking over one of the most talented teams of the several generations. I mean, I think that Real Madrid team, as much as they won, that was one of the better teams that we've seen in quite a while up there. Probably rivaled in many ways Pep's Barcelona towards the end. So I think that's maybe why that's not that case. But yeah, I would say that's kind of the reasoning there with that.
Yeah, I hear you absolutely. But to be honest, like if I had to put my perspective, of course, Nagelsmann makes perfect sense. But if Nagelsmann has the options of Real Madrid, Chelsea, and Spurs, like we all know where he's going to go, right? And that's the whole thing. But again, Pochettino is in the mix as well. My honest opinion is I do not want Pochettino. He's almost like I look at Pochettino like it is how I looked at Benitez when he came to the Chelsea. You know what I mean? Taron, I don't know if you can believe that. I know Pochettino has been there, done that, but come on. I think PSG, did not get along well with a lot of people, what I understand. Plus the fact that bottom line being that what has he won, right? That's the big question. But yeah, again, Zidane is a very interesting one for me. Nagelsmann, Ancelotti, Zidane kind of tick most boxes, but again, the language barrier is something that we cannot totally
I think that he
disregard.
probably would have taken a position in England, because it's not that I don't think he would have had offers and interest, and it just all these years he's never accepted one of those offers. So part of me just think that's
I think Manchester United was pretty well documented. And I think both Conte and Zidane apparently, I think initially were contacted for the Manchester United job. I know eventually Man United got Eric Ten Hag. I know they lost today, but let's be honest that he's been doing a good job generally, right, Taron? So I think that kind of makes sense. But again, people saying Big Sam needed. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you want a short fix? Again, pretty not Big Sam, but even otherwise, Taron, like right now, realistically, what will you be content with? Is there anything that we can be content with as Chelsea fans right now? Because the season wait's gone. I think I have put it right out there that I've seen 2000 to 2005, the period where we did not win anything, and I liked that time compared to basically what's going on in the last say 7-8 months, right? So, but what is your expectation, Taron? No matter who comes in right now, pretty much sure it's not going to be big Sam or Brendan Rodgers. I know I got sacked Brendan Rodgers, but Taron, what's your expectation now from Chelsea?
Don't get relegated. That's the only expectation I have right now. And
38 points, man.
Don't lose that 12-0 to Real Madrid. That's all I have to say. But yeah, like seriously, I just need the board to bring in someone serious now. I have a serious plan, because if they just sack Potter respectfully from going through their Twitter feed, then obviously that's not what I want to see. I want to see like a clear plan from the board, because from what I've seen since they've come in, you can see their intentions are in the right place, bringing in clear signings that we've lacked, like dynamic wingers, a great ball playing midfielder, many positions that we've lacked for many years, and bringing in a manager who, when he first came in, some people were saying, including myself, this could go very well or could go very wrong. So the intentions were all in the right place, but it's all been a bit all over the place, like spending a lot of money in January, not maybe having the clearest idea of when to sack Potter, when to keep Potter. So I just want to have a clear plan. If we do bring in Nagelsmann, I think that's the best thing that this ball can do very, very soon. It needs to happen quickly. We can't have Bruno until the end of the season, in my opinion. We can't be having Pochettino come in now, because that would lose the whole fan base, in my opinion. So there needs to be a clear plan of how this club's going to go forward from a management perspective over the rebuild, the 2-3 years of this rebuild. That's all I can really ask for. Because it's been a bit all over the place since they've come in, which isn't great to see. And the way Todd Bowley's liking Twitter comments and stuff all the time is a bit unprofessional, in my opinion. But yeah,
it's almost like basically, again, I might be wrong, but it comes across to me as again, I don't know him personally. I don't know. I might maybe judge him, but for me, it's almost like egoistic / bossy. It's almost he comes across that to me. That come on, I'm there for everything. Like, come on, you got to be just delegating, and that's normal in any job that you do. That's the thing. But that's what I think Tuchel indirectly referred to as as well. I just had a meeting. It was a 4 or 5 minute meeting, and that's it. After all that we went through over the last 7 years, but again, I'm just going back to the same thing again and again. Hansi Flick is one that I'm not discussed much on the channel. I don't know how available he will be, Travis, but I know he was there at the Chelsea games a couple of times, but statements were it was because of Kai Havertz. But again, I know internationally he's not done well, but he's done pretty superb, when he was at Bayern. So what do you think, if at all Hansi Flick is available, say hypothetically Nagelsmann goes to Real Madrid? I know that we're trying to kind of do it before Real Madrid does their thing, or maybe any club for that matter. But in case that happens, then option B, because Ancelotti may not be available right away after getting a sack, just hypothetically speaking, then Hansi Flick might be a better plan B as well compared to maybe even Zidane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really tough to get Flick away from the Germany national team. I think it's going to be very difficult to do. I mean, I think he could maybe come in and provide stability. I'm not personally too high on Flick myself. I think that the team that he had in the Bayern season, it was the COVID season as well. And I mean, that team was incredibly deep from top to bottom. And not only did they have depth in every position, but they had incredible talent at every position too. So I really think that he kind of had the best of a lot of situations that season. Not discrediting him. I just don't think that that's really where our team is at relative to where that Bayern team was when he was managing them. And I think he's kind of very happy where he is in the Germany national team. I mean, it's kind of what I've read or had quoted that it's sort of a dream job for him. So not really sure what that would be. As far as if it doesn't work out and we have to get a plan B, that's where I really struggle to have names to throw out. If we have to go to plan B and Nagelsmann is off to Real Madrid, Carlo somehow is not available, that's when I think it really starts to become difficult. And I'm not sure who you take because there aren't that many options available at that point. You're going to have Pochettino, who I agree would be basically just like throwing gas on a fire as far as the fan base. It's not going to
fan base will be burly out, as in I'm pretty sure. Not that summer already, that's how it has been.
Yeah,
So,
it would be very. You were spot on though. Like as far as it would be reminiscent of Benitez, I think that's what it would be. I don't think the fan base would react well to it, especially because he never really won anything at Spurs. They're going to once again just say it's another guy who doesn't win, so on and so forth. So I really would be unsure of what our plan B is at that point if we are going to move forward. Maybe there's somebody in the national team setup that we could tempt. I mean, I think as far as you just look at teams that are doing really well and maybe overperforming, like Napoli this season, maybe he's an option. I can't remember the name of their manager, but I mean, you would kind of start looking at maybe places that have similar sides where they're not just these, all 28 to 30-year-old veteran players that are superstars that are winning without those types of profiles. And I think then you would just kind of look at those managers and evaluate how good of a fit they could be. But I don't know. I think it'd be very tough to go from there if there's not going to be an option.
Yeah, I think some interesting names for sure, Travis, like Spalletti, for instance.
Yeah.
Like that brings to the next question, Taron. I know that you guys want to go as well, but quick couple of opinions I want. Like basically speaking, see, we are talking about Zidane's, the Nagelsmann's, the Hansi Flicks, the Ancelotti if available, Jose back, Low, De Boer. Okay, I won't put in that category. Maybe Bielsa to some extent, yes. So, and Spalletti, now what, Travis spoke about. But we are all forgetting, aren't we, right, Travis, that, and then Taron again, I'll come to you now. Because for me, it's writing on the wall. Like there's literally 0.001% or not even that we're going to be winning the Champions League. Let's be real about it, right? And when it comes to the Premier League, we know our fate right now, and we know the kind of competition we're dealing with. Newcastle has improved. They just beat Manchester United today. I know it's not a one-off. It's actually Newcastle doing well, right? Generally, so there's so much. So if a manager has to come in, firstly, if he or she is coming out from say a different, different league, won't you think, Taron, in their stance, they will be really, really as in hesitant to come to Chelsea first because that we sack and that's our DNA. And even now, Burley is probably done, as an Abramovich to the power of 2 already, right, Taron? So from that perspective, realistically speaking, Travis spoke about a plan. I hope there is a plan because when Tuchel was sacked, it seemed to me that everything happened like so quickly with Potter, and right now again after what happened yesterday, it wasn't this 72 hours ago. So, what is the realistic plan? Do you think? What is the realistic plan right now? Because if say we don't have Nagelsmann, we are in a soup, aren't we, Taron?
Well, if we don't have Nagelsmann, am I lagging now? Okay. Yeah, if we don't have Nagelsmann, first of all, I'll say this board, I'll be extremely hesitant to back this board at all in the future.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
if we are to say Nagelsmann's not available and they've just sacked Potter off the cusp of things and they haven't got a real plan, which I really, really doubt, by the way, there's like 2% chance, in my opinion, that that's true. That is an absolute travesty to all the fans of the club, everyone who works at the club, Graham Potter, Tuchel, everyone who's been involved in this club recently. But in my opinion, they have to look for somebody who can fit a rebuild. Like you guys have mentioned names of Ancelotti and Conte and Mourinho, but I don't think those managers really fit a rebuild, in my opinion. These managers
And half of them, more than half of them, are actually in jobs, right, Taron? That's another
and
thing.
Ancelotti it's almost guaranteed he's going to the Brazil national team, so I don't think that's very likely at all. So there has to be a manager who fits a rebuild, and Nagelsmann definitely fits a rebuild. 100% fits a rebuild, 1,000,000%. He can do it. He did it at Leipzig, in my opinion. Whoever he worked for, Hoffenheim obviously was his major kind of golden ticket to big football, where he finished top 4 after, I believe, 18th place in the league the season before. So yeah, he's a crazy manager for rebuild. Can easily do it at a club like Chelsea, in my opinion. I don't think he's the type of guy that will feel the pressure too much around Chelsea. He strikes me as quite a calm and intellectual guy, passionate, which is a thing you definitely need as a Chelsea manager. which Graham Potter, all respect to him, it's nothing to say against him as a person, but he's just not a passionate kind of guy, and that doesn't match well with the fans. So it's been any kind of talks approach for news.
Yeah, same thing. He's a favorite.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing.
But again,
thank you so much.
You know what? Let's not buy into that yet, Taron. I'm telling you. And this is, just with past experience, having watched so much, Taron, his stuff, and Travis, you as well. When Real Madrid come calling, and as you said, because Ancelotti going to Brazil is kind of also written on the wall, imagine a situation where basically there is a Copa del Rey in 3 days' time. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. If, say, Ancelotti loses that game, and Nagelsmann is available, and Nagelsmann gives a call to the people who are in touch with Real Madrid saying that, hey, Chelsea guys are calling me, and that actually happens. That's the reality of it, right? And Real Madrid will come calling, and he'll just go. Pretty much sure we're not going to end with Pochettino, and that's what something I'm really scared about, to be very honest about it. And because immediately I don't see Ancelotti being a guy that, okay, he'll just jump ship. I know he did that with Everton versus Real Madrid. With all due respect to Everton, come on, there's a huge difference. Here, I think if Ancelotti is available for the Brazil team, I think he'll probably wait for that and then take up that job. And then you have basically who else? Jose, who's in the job already. Zidane, anyway, he's been unsure for a while, good while. And I don't know, any English manager in the hot list? See, that's what I just called this thing, Travis. Not sure if you heard that from me, but I'm like, yeah, we have Bruno right now as our interim manager. I know it's really unpopular, but the way that the players could have just motivated themselves and had like something of a continuity, I would have not even been minding if, say, for example, a Lampard / Zola work with the Terry for the next 1 month and take us. I know it's kind of wanting to be a Di Matteo part 2 is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hey, you could just call Di Matteo up.
Yeah, as in lightning doesn't strike twice kind of thing, right? It's almost. But as in, again, that might work out better. But again, I don't know about you. I know Klopp is a very bad loser. I know it's impractical. He'll never come to Chelsea and things like that. But we know in football things happen. Jose managed Spurs for God's sake.
Yeah.
Who would have imagined that, right? Jose coming back to us a second time after the way he left the first time. Things happen in football. Fabregas coming and playing for us. I remember myself spitting in Fabregas when I was like a teenager. I remember those days, man. And then I'm like singing Fabregas is magic. And that's football for you. So I'm just saying, like, the reason I'm saying about that stopgap solution and then maybe, wait for maybe, if not Ancelotti, maybe even a Klopp, because I can see Liverpool. Yes, that's not the Liverpool way, but if Liverpool miss out on top 4, as in that might be another place that might be there. Again, hating supremacy. I don't know, man. There are so many names here. It's almost a disrespect to Emma Hayes, to be honest, right, Travis? That if you are considering her, because she kind of deserves a top job by herself. She should not be a replacement, really, right?
Yeah. As far as like kind of what you're describing with where we might go with the manager in that situation, I don't know. As far as like I saw somebody ask about English managers like Emma Hayes. I don't think she's going to be leaving that position. I don't really think there's an English manager. And as far as like Emma Hayes go, I just don't see that as something I don't think that's going to really be fair to the women's team at all. I mean, she has built that almost entirely herself, and I don't think that's really fair to rip her away from that in this manner.
Women's team is a pride, Travis, right now, to be honest, more than men's team. That's the honest truth.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely been more sustained, like consistent success over the years than the men's team, and a lot of that is all at kind of Emma Hayes' credit and what she's done from the top down, and who she's implemented, what the players she's brought in, how she's playing. So I don't really think that's the best option for the club, because you're just going to basically improving one in the short term and then hurting the other in the long term. So I would say, yeah, Emma Hayes could probably do it at this level. I mean, I think she's an incredibly intelligent manager, but I don't think that's for the best of the club. And as far as, if we kind of do have a situation where it's going to be like Pochettino or like a Jose or Conte, I don't think I would want to live with that kind of alternative reality with Pochettino being the manager. And because I don't think even at PSG he did enough to show that he is somehow now fit for a super club. I would rather let somebody else roll the dice on him being their kind of ticket to trying to get into European football. And I think that really would just leave you with like Jose or Conte. And I think that you're better off, honestly, with probably Jose at that point for the third time than you would be at Conte. So it'd be interesting to see. But I think that where we are, how many links there already have been, the fact that it seems like talks have already been going on before today for Nagelsmann, whether that's formally or informally within the club. I think it's all the signs are kind of pointing to that direction. And I think that's if we do go that way and we do get Nagelsmann for either immediately before the season's over, or even to start next season, I think that's a great appointment. And I'd be very, very happy with that move.
Yeah, but Taron has some great points there with Travis. But coming to the squad, what is the squad thinking? Think about a Pierre-Emerick
third manager
Aubameyang.
in a few months.
The guy came for Tuchel, right? And Tuchel left the day that he came, or rather the next day. And here you have a manager who's talking, no, he's doing the right thing, but he's never in the squad. And at the same time, yes, Aubameyang, honest to God, there were a couple of games where he deserved that as well, but then not having him totally. And now a new manager is about to come. I don't know what Bruno's relation is with the players at all, but generally speaking, as in now it's been a while that we've had the new players, right? We cannot say that it's been like two less as well. Which other players like you feel that okay, as in for example, a Joao Felix, right? As in think about him. Chelsea don't go get Europe. He doesn't know who the manager is. If in case we continue with the interim manager Taron, as in who are the players you think will feel like okay, I'm Chelsea and I want to stay? Like, is there even like a handful of players you can count on?
I think with Joao Felix, he's obviously on loan, so I think definitely, unless Nagelsmann, well, I'm procrastinating a lot here because I think he is definitely going to come in. When he does come in, if he does talk to Felix and say, I can use you in the kind of role I used in Kunku, who's potentially going to come in as well, or other players, then he could stay. But in terms of the players, I think, in my opinion, some players didn't really play for Potter. In my opinion, Koulibaly had a good run, but in general, never really played his best on the Potter, and neither did a lot of players. But I wouldn't really blame many of these players. I think players like Havertz get a lot of stick, but he worked his hardest under Potter and was arguably one of the best players under Potter. So I don't really
Thanks
think
for saying that.
players...
I get a lot of stick backing Havertz all the time, and chat knows what I'm saying here. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the players really can be to blame because to me it looked like tactically they were a bit unaware where they should be at different phases in attack and defense. They looked a bit, in the nicest way, a bit clueless. It was never for the knack of trying, and it just looked like, for example, when we're pressing, our players never really pressed from the front often, apart from the Dortmund game. It was very much a mid block, and there was no that doesn't come from the players. It comes from the manager at the end of the day. And you have to just go back to Graham Potter in the way that he never got the players mentally in the right way for the game, the right intensity to go for a game. Obviously, your players can do better in certain situations, like taking chances, but that's not really on Potter in my opinion. So I don't think you can look at a group of players. I think if you give the players a manager who can motivate them and do well, and clearly has a good tactical structure, this group of players will absolutely succeed. Because under Tuchel, they were absolutely amazing, world class. Even some games towards the start of the season, the Tottenham game, absolutely amazing. So getting a manager who can get the players to play well, motivate them, get the right system in, I think they'll do well. It's not about a handful; it's about all of them. All of them can do well.
Fair enough. Travis, the big question about Mason Mount, again, in all of this, I'm pretty sad to say this, but I think somewhere down the line, I think that'll be kind of, down the list of the things that are supposed to be done the next, few days. And that's probably the time. And remember, it was a similar thing which happened with Rudiger, to some extent, Christensen. I know Mason Mount is different because he's been at the club since 7-8 years of age that he was. It's totally different, but as in will Mount treated differently because Mount, the way that he was as in clapping the supporters, as in for me it was kind of telling. But how would you handle it if you were Todd Bowley? Like, I am putting in a different spot, Travis, but the Mount situation, I'm pretty sure Bruno has got nothing to do with the Mount situation, and I'm sure that's not going to happen any talks with that. So
yeah,
if new management comes, any new manager would take at least a month to kind of decide that who are his players and who are not. Will Mount be able to wait that long, do you think?
Yeah, the whole Mount situation itself has kind of been one that's super interesting, and for a lot of different reasons. It sounds like the club have repeatedly given offers. Mount has said no, they're not really meeting whether it's the length or the contract terms, whatever it might be. I'm not in those discussions, but we do have information available that he's rejected those offers. So it's just a very unique situation given his background with the club and the fact that he's rejecting the offers to stay at this club even longer, potentially for the majority of his best years would be tied down at Chelsea in a contract. So it's very strange that he's not accepting the contract I think it is. I think that there are probably things behind the scenes that we're not aware of. I don't really know what those would be, but I just feel that there's probably something else going on. And you saw under Potter, he's kind of getting phased out. There weren't even really negotiations for anything. Tuchel was a manager who played Mount almost religiously for many times. The guy always was in the 11 many times with Tuchel.
See, that's something that we forget as a fan base, right? The guy, as in like Saka is doing for Arsenal right now. I know Arsenal as a team are doing great, and it pains me to say it, but what Saka is doing week in, week out, literally every minute in one game he does not start, the entire fan base is going crazy. Mount was that for a couple of seasons and a half, right? So why do we tend to forget that? But at the same time, you're right. As in, if you are Mount, you would have probably done that by now. And that's why I'm kind of scared about Mount going off. And that's the thing, Taron, I was coming to you because with Felix and Mount, imagine Felix is in a situation, he's in loan, he doesn't know his future, we don't have Europe. Let's be honest, Felix, like, he's been one of the brightest players that has been in Chelsea for the last 3 months at least, right? So what is the initial, as in what is the guarantee that Chelsea is going to win something, say, next year if Felix is around? So he might get tempted, he might get other offers, even go back to Atletico if Simeone is gone. At the same time, we lose Felix, we lose Mount, right? I know that we anyway have a lot of losses and we need to cut that, we need to sell players, etc. We don't need to buy a lot of expensive players. Ziyech, the writing was on the wall at least until now. I know manager changes can change things, but Ziyech, I think, again, I'll be really surprised if he stays around. Pulisic might be a different case altogether. So I'm already talking about 3 attacking players who are like for Shogun. If you want to add Oba, because pretty sure he's going to Barca. It's just that he didn't go to Barca because of La Liga rules. Otherwise, he would have gone back to Barca, right, in January. So these 4 are gone. And now, Nkunku coming, he doesn't know what his future is. So, like, what are we talking in terms of the transfer window here? Like, is again, that's why I'm coming to, like, who are those players that you're banking on? Like, who are your number 8? Again, we are falling back on maybe the Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Gallagher's, really, with all due respect.
I think obviously Enzo, definitely. I think from what I've seen of Enzo, it's a bit naive to say, but I think he is going to lead our midfield for many years to
he's
come.
Awesome,
He's an absolute
he's awesome.
crazy player. In terms of Kovacic, I think that's on the wall a bit right now. Like, I'm not on the wall, like it's a bit 50-50. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Because I think he might want to try a new challenge. He's won the league. He might want to move to Man City to kind of push his way to the Premier League. Kante is obviously going to stay. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed. But in terms of the main stakes for this team, you have to just look at Thiago Silva has to be around 100% to lead the team into a new manager with his leadership. I think he could work very well with Nagelsmann in terms of being that middle centre-back. In terms of the Cucurella, for me, I know it's very naive to say as well, but I don't think he was the right signing at the time. I think if there is a way to move him out in the summer, which is very unlikely because we paid a big fee for him on a long-term contract, I don't think he'd work very well under Nagelsmann at all. I don't think he can play the wing-back role of Nagelsmann or the centre-back role very well. So I don't think he could be, if he doesn't play a lot, he might want to look for a move away, and his value is not going to be great right now. But the main stakes I'm looking at are your Enzo Fernandez, your Thiago Silva as your leadership. The front players, I really can't name any that 100% going to be around because Havertz could go in the summer. It's very, very likely he could go to line up with Tuchel again in the summer after his quotes in that Build interview.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's scary, man. It's scary to think about it. As in, with what we've done in the summer and the winter window, and this. But again, thanks a lot, Taron. I know that you've got to go, my bro. As in, big up to Taron, everyone. Do give a follow to CFCTaron. And Taron, anything that you might want to just plug in, bro? Go for it.
No, not really. To be fair, just thanks for having me back on. It's anytime you need me on these kind of streams, I'll be happy. Good to meet Travis and be on stream with Travis. Great opinions, great takes. Love to talk again. But everyone, just have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the Nagelsmann era because it's coming very soon. Not the Pochettino era, and I'll see you later. Bye.
See you. Big up Taron. Absolutely. Taron, OP ho jaye bhai sab log. Travis, I know, as in I'll take your closing thoughts as well soon. But again, Moldeep is asking which, as in we are already jumping the gun. Remember, that's what as a fan base we are.
He'll use a lot of different formations. So Nagelsmann, like he'll go like maybe some days 3-4-3, sometimes 5-3-2s, other times it'll be a 3-5-2. I mean, he'll play a back 4 sometimes. He is very, very adaptable in terms of his formations. He kind of has like these 31 principles. I'm not a massive expert on him. I kind of just know like cursory details on him.
As in, he was brilliant in the Champions League. As in the group that he had, right?
2 goals conceded.
Barca, PSG, exactly. The group, and then round of 16. I think the way I look at Nagelsmann is he seems to me like a even more youngish version of Tuchel. Because if you remember what Tuchel, not the Tuchel of PSG, the Tuchel of Dortmund was actually known for that. As in, like you said, the different formations, in-game management, someone who shows passion. As in, a lot of boxes kind of match that. And the fact that somewhere down the line, I think the ownership has to realize, yes, I know in hindsight probably it was right or wrong is debatable, but let's be honest, Tuchel worked better for us, and there were reasons for it, and far better. And maybe that's what they might be looking at. That's why maybe Nagelsmann, again, the German connection, the fact that Vivel is in the job kind of helps as well, right? So those kind of things definitely make sense. But again, it comes down to the reality. If I am Nagelsmann, again, I love my club, Travis, and everyone in the chat. If I am Nagelsmann right now, if I get an offer from Real Madrid and Chelsea, I know where I'm going, right?
Yeah,
If
it's
I am
pretty easy.
basically even a Pochettino, and I don't want Pochettino, let's be very clear. And Travis is the same. Pretty
No,
much sure everyone, that's not a preference, right? So even he'll go to Real Madrid. So I don't think there's even a contest there, right? So I don't want a case where we are kind of getting the backup option. And that's where I'm coming to again. Like, are the board having a plan? Like, do they kind of jump the gun? And that's the bossy attitude I'm talking about, Travis. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's something very much almost the baseball kind of, things. And again, I've been there in Toronto and I've seen the kind of things, that used to happen all the time. And that's why I'm relating to this thing is very afterthought-ish, what I
yep.
mean. So, and let's see. I don't know what will happen, but your closing thoughts, Travis. Again, what Potter got to us, and again, I know we've gone 2 steps back, but what do you expect from you? I asked Aaron the same question.
Yeah, so I think, first off, like I do, thank you for Graham Potter for what you did offer for the club. I mean, there are some positives. I mean, we're still in the Champions League, so the fact you were able to keep that alive for us and not make the season a complete and total loss as far as that goes is good. But is the rest of it, it just kind of got to the point where it wasn't really viable anymore. And I, wanted this to succeed a lot. I wanted to have a long-term stability at manager, and we just weren't able to really have that. It wasn't a viable future. So with that said, I think it was probably the right move. I think it didn't really seem like it was a tenable option anymore. And you just can't let this continue to slide too far, because then even the idea of him getting time in a preseason, well, there could be a lot of damage done with the existing players going into that next preseason, just not taking the manager seriously. And then you just kind of have to write off more time and more of your future by having to reset and get a new manager and so on and so forth. I think that the board, I think your kind of concerns with them are right. This does seem very hasty, and you point out the fact that now we have 3 managers in about the last 8 months or so. To be our third, potentially, now that if we get somebody after Bruno before, right? So we could have 4 managers in one season potentially. And I think that is going to be very off-putting for a lot of potential candidates in the future. I think that's going to be something that makes other managers weary of coming to Chelsea, because that's worse than we probably ever saw or would have ever seen under the Roman Abramovich time. And that is something that we're going to have to live with, is that that's now the reality of how many changes we've made. And we criticized previous regime, the previous ownership for that, and now we're doing it even more. So that criticism will still, bear valid. They're gonna have to get this next appointment right, and they don't. I think they're going to write off a good chunk of their future, because then we'll have maybe all of next season with a guy who doesn't fit, and have to go back that starting, again in the 20, it would be the 24-25 preseason, starting all over again with another guy. So I think it's crucial that we get the right manager in. And I think you're right. You're spot on, though, as far as Nagelsmann. If it does end up being Madrid versus Chelsea, I think I know which one he's going to choose, which is Madrid, because Nagelsmann has to be very intelligent with his next move now that he went to a top club in Bayern and it didn't quite work out. He has to be very intelligent with his next move and to really decide what's going to make him succeed at the top level, because if he gets 2 jobs that he's fired from at the top level, his days getting those jobs might be at a much lesser chance than what they are right now. So he needs to be strategic with his next move. So the club are at a very difficult time, but unfortunately, I don't really know what option there was left to take. But I do agree that it's going to be interesting if we can land Nagelsmann. And if we can't, it's going to be a very difficult conversation for the club, because it's a massive appointment, whichever direction we do go with this next manager.
Yeah. I think one thing, I don't know if it's like maybe peer pressure, whatever you may call that. The fact that even Leicester, for instance, sacked their manager. And the funniest part,
Yeah.
someone in the chat just pointed out that PSG are still having the manager intact. after what they've been through as a club. And here the Premier League is like, going on records of sacking managers. See, again, we none of us like, managers getting sacked, but that is the hard
Yeah.
truth, right? As in, and the writing is on the wall, especially when the kind of competition, the kind of money we are dealing with in the Premier League, and after we have put in like millions of, and not we, as in, I mean, Todd Bowley and co, of course, have put in a lot of money. So it's kind of written there. But let's see again, if Galtier again, if he gets a sack, who knows? There might be another merry-go-round, as in, it might be again, say Zidane, the French connection. There might be something, or maybe Nagelsmann, PSG also was happening. So you never know. Things might happen, and that's what I'm telling. If one club sacks a manager, big club, another big club are kind of tempted to do that because of what happened, say for example at Bayern Munich, right? Pretty much sure that Tuchel himself was surprised by the call, that he got it. But that's what happens in football. It's very, as in, very volatile, right? That's how the jobs are. But again, thanks Travis for being here. Big up to you again.
Thanks a lot for having me on. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, it's a good time.
All the time. Again, up the chairs always, but we'll speak soon. I'll just take a few comments in the chat before ending the stream. But big up to you, and let's wish us all the best.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.
See you soon. Big up to Travis OP हो जाए in the house. भाई मैं थोड़े से comments लेने वाला हूँ आप अभी. I know. By the way, anyone who's watching from India, big up to you. भाई अभी 2:30 बजे है, और I know I did get an international panel today because of the fact that, again, I wanted to get Taron on. First of all, he's one of the OGs of the channel, been there in my first live stream. साथ में Taron is a huge Chelsea fan, a huge one at that. Or he lives in London. He goes to Stamford matches literally every second match. So Bayani creates a lot of content in the recent past. So Taron का perspective मुझे चाहिए था. Travis, again, being an international fan but being closer to place, I think वो एक local flavor मिलता है in terms of basically what they're looking for. But again, good night to everyone who's basically here till now. Ashish, absolutely. लेकिन हाँ, जो भी लोग बोल रहे थे ना, मैंने स्टार किया था. यहाँ पर पुदिन ने पूछा था योर थॉट्स ऑन कसानो कंपेयरिंग हालैंड विद लुकाकू. हाँ, बाय द वे, हालैंड विद लुकाकू उसका पॉइंट नहीं था पुदिन, उसका पॉइंट था बेसिकली, यस कसानो, बाय द वे आई नो अभिषेक ने थोड़ा हेट दिया कसानो को. कसानो एक्चुअली एक बहुत अच्छा प्लेयर था. यस आई नो ही डिड फ्लॉप इन अ कपल ऑफ क्लब्स, लेकिन ही डिड वाज अ वेरी गुड स्ट्राइकर. जैसे सच में बोलता हूं, ही कुड प्ले एनीवेयर इन द फ्रंट थ्री. But having said that, it doesn't matter. वो point उसका क्या था? He actually said that Julian Alvarez in the long run will turn out to be better than Haaland, or he is more useful to a team than Haaland. Why? Because Haaland his skills are lesser than Julian Alvarez, but his physicality is more like a Lukaku in his prime. So he wasn't comparing Haaland to Lukaku right now. He was comparing Haaland to Lukaku, the kind of player that Lukaku is, genre of player. वैसे बोल रहा था. And again, remember, हम भी ऐसे ही सोच रहे थे भाई. 2 साल पहले हमने जब लुकाकू को साइन किया था, हमारा पहला चॉइस था हालैंड नहीं आया था बिकॉज उस समय द लेट एजेंट ऑफ हिज वांटेड एक्स्ट्रा टन्स ऑफ मनी. तो उसके कारण हम हालैंड के लिए नहीं गए थे, एंड वी कुड अफोर्ड लुकाकू इन 100 million rather than paying 150 million फॉर हालैंड. वो हुआ था केस. इफ यू रिमेंबर, वी ourselves had them in a similar bracket. But anyway, thanks for the question again. No problem, Anboldeep, absolutely, always. Remember, it's always a fan channel for all to see. और मैं ऐसे ही बोलने के नहीं बोलता हूँ. Literally, it is welcome for anyone and everyone. Again, the reason I did an emergency stream, it doesn't matter. मैं देखता नहीं हूँ कौन हिंदी बात करता है तो इंग्लिश बात करता है. Basically, if any panel is available, मैं सब लोग को मैसेज करता हूँ जो भी लोग available रहते हैं at the time that I do the stream. I respect each and everyone. It doesn't matter. Language should not be a barrier here, to be honest. And again, with all due respect to everyone, मैं of course मैं हिंदी में ज्यादा करता हूँ, लेकिन इंग्लिश में भी करता है. रीजन बीइंग क्योंकि मैं तो भाई बचपन से, सच में बोलूँ तो, टीवी में देखता हूँ कभी भी, और मुझे तो याद नहीं कभी हिंदी में आता था. सच में बोलता हूँ, ऑनेस्ट टू गॉड. तो इट्स लैंग्वेज ऑफ फुटबॉल, डजंट मैटर. और मैंने, अगर मेरा इंग्लिश इतना अच्छा नहीं था मे बी 25 साल पहले, 20 साल पहले, और मैंने खाली इंग्लिश में देखा है और मैं ए टू जेड शायद समझा हूँ, so pretty sure everyone can understand. So I think it's just a matter of opinion at the end of the day. That's what it matters. And I wanted Chelsea fans on the table, and I respect them really. Happy for the Chelsea fans. Finally, this great team will be under good hands, but the management needs to take the decisions properly and sign someone. To be honest, Messi is good. It's not happy, I would say, being a Chelsea fan. It's almost like inevitable. जो एक relief हुई है, चलो हो गया है. Now maybe we can finally start our era after Todd Bowley has taken over. वो ऑलमोस्ट लग रहा है. Yes, after spending just 600 million, मैं बोल रहा हूँ, लेकिन द फैक्ट इज, मतलब हमें नल एंड वॉइड करना पड़ेगा जो हुआ है. प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पर ये है कि हम अभी 10th भी नहीं, 11th इन द टेबल है, और दैट इज व्हाट विल अफेक्ट नेक्स्ट सीजन. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि जो भी बंदा आएगा उसको एक वापस से टाइम मिलने वाला है. भाई तू 5 साल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं, सोच समझ के देना एक तो. और अगर इंटरिम भी है तो उसके पास एक टास्क है कि एटलीस्ट मैं बोलता हूँ हमें यूरोप मिले. डेफिनेटली यूरोपियन फुटबॉल इज नीडेड बिकॉज आवर स्क्वाड इज प्रीटी बिग. सब लोग को सेल नहीं कर पाएंगे. दैट्स एन ऑनेस्ट ओपिनियन प्रैक्टिकली स्पीकिंग. पॉटर को एंड ऑफ सीजन तक रख लेते अगर इंटरिम रखना था तो. नहीं, मैंने बोला था गौरव दैट आई काइंड ऑफ अग्री टू दैट जब हम डॉर्टमंड मैच जीते थे, लेकिन आफ्टर डॉर्टमंड कल वापस से जो हुआ और एवर्टन के साथ जो हुआ था, आई थिंक मैंने इसलिए पोस्ट भी किया था इंस्टाग्राम में और मैंने ट्वीट भी किया था. फॉर मी इट वाज मतलब ही वाजंट टेकिंग एनीवेयर. तो आप रखकर भी क्या फायदा. दैट्स द होल थिंग. आप अगर बैकवर्ड ही जा रहे हो बार बार तो आई वुड से मोर नेगेटिविटी आती है. एटलीस्ट एक कोई इंटरिम भी आता तो हंसी मजाक ज्यादा होता है, एक पॉजिटिव एनवायरमेंट होता है. वो एक सिंपल सा आप कोई भी जॉब में देखते हो, अगर आपके बॉस से आप खुश नहीं हो, आपका बॉस चेंज होता है, तो यू काइंड ऑफ एटलीस्ट लुक फॉरवर्ड टू सम पॉजिटिव थिंग्स. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल इन ओबामयांग, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल जियेश, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल जकारिया. मे बी वो लोग थोड़ा पॉजिटिव रहेंगे. प्लस द पीपल हु वर नॉट इन फॉर्म, मे बी इवन मुड्रिक, उसको भी यार फाइनली स्टार्ट मिला है, लेकिन बहुत दिनों के बाद उसको स्टार्ट मिला, राइट, डिस्पाइट दैट लिवरपूल गेम. तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगता है देयर विल बी सम पॉजिटिव्स अबाउट गेटिंग एनीवन, बी इट एन इंटरिम मैनेजर, बी इट अ परमानेंट मैनेजर. होपफुली अभी इंटरिम है, लेकिन परमानेंट भी आए बिफोर द सीजन एंड्स, बिकॉज यहाँ पर प्रीटी श्योर यहाँ पर सीजन एंड होने पर बहुत सारे बाकी क्लब्स में अवेलेबिलिटी हो जाएगी, वहां पर चल जाएंगे वहां पर. तो नैगल्समैन देखते आता है कि नहीं, वेदर ही अभी एज थिंग्स स्टैंड. यस, फेब्रिशियो ने बोला है नैगल्समैन लुक्स प्रेफर्ड ऑप्शन, दैट हैज बीन द प्रेफर्ड ऑप्शन. लेकिन नैगल्समैन कैंप से कुछ नहीं सुनाई दिया भाइयों, कुछ सुनाई नहीं दिया. तो वी डोंट नो व्हाट इज नैगल्समैन कैंप थिंकिंग राइट नाउ. मे बी जो लास्ट न्यूज आया था कि नैगल्समैन वांट्स टू टेक अ ब्रेक, ही वांट्स टू लुक एट हिज ऑप्शंस कम्स द समर, इज एक्चुअली ट्रू. रिमेंबर ही हैड पर्सनल इश्यूज भी. तो जैसे टूकल को हुआ था, मे बी वांट्स टू टेक अ ब्रेक फॉर अ कपल ऑफ मंथ्स एंड देन कम बैक. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग क्वाइट पॉसिबल. पोचेटिनो बहुत कर दिया, तो आई होप वी डोंट गो दैट वे. बट एनीवे लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर पॉसिबल. देखिए, इंटरिम का मैं इसलिए बोल रहा था गौरव, द बेस्ट थिंग वुड बी इन माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन, आई नो यहाँ पर सबको सैक नहीं कर पाते क्योंकि इतना पैसा देना पड़ता है, इसलिए शायद ब्रूनो को दिया जॉब कि कहीं ना कहीं आप जाओ मत, आप लोग को यहाँ पर ओहदा मिलेगा, यू विल स्टे ऑन. बट आई थिंक इंटरिम में यू कुड हैव बेसिकली even got involved a John Terry in my opinion, because that would have got the fan base going back. अगेन ओबा का पता नहीं क्या, सिंपल एज दैट, अभी पता नहीं, इट्स ऑल इन द एयर. पॉटर को एंड तक रख लेते, रेलीगेट कर देता हूँ पता नहीं. लेकिन अगेन आई एम नेवर हैप्पी फॉर समवन गेटिंग सैड, बट एट द सेम टाइम रिलीफ है. मोर देन अ बिग रेप्यूटेड नेम, डोंट यू थिंक चेल्सी शुड साइन अ मैनेजर हु विल सूट करंट स्क्वाड बेस्ट? दानिश मेक सेंस. दानिश यू मेक सेंस बिकॉज हमने 650 मिलियन स्पेंड किए. आई नो कुछ प्लेयर्स अभी भी लोन पर है, वापस आएंगे, कुछ लोग को वर्क परमिट नहीं मिला है, और लेकिन फाइनली दे विल कम, राइट. आज भी यंगस्टर साइन किया हमने. फॉर पीपल हु डू नॉट नो, फेब्रिशियो ने ट्वीट किया था जस्ट अ फ्यू मिनट्स अगो बिफोर द सैकिंग न्यूज. बट अगेन याद रखिए, बेसिकली स्पीकिंग, it's not easy to get what you want. Why? Because yes, we are Chelsea Football Club, हम किसी को अट्रैक्ट कर पाएंगे if we are throwing the money which Todd Boehly has. But the reality being that हम यूरोप में नहीं होंगे शायद नेक्स्ट सीजन. तो with that I think it's pretty much concerning कि यार कौन आएगा. तो मतलब वो ये beggars are not choosers वाला चीज हो जाएगा. तो I don't know if we should jump the gun. But again, मैं फेब्रिशियो का ट्वीट देख रहा हूँ, if anything else has come right now. But again, thanks a lot for everyone coming in. Again, you can never know Bruno what he thinks. Remember वो भी Brighton का था. He kind of is an ex-player. He's a defender. Plus the fact that Bruno Salter worked with Potter at Brighton भी और Chelsea भी. तो कहीं ना कहीं he might not have totally different viewpoints possible. I'm just saying. Yes, मैंने देखा, प्रणव मैंने देखा है जकारिया का, लेकिन वेस्ट तो काफी है. We had to take the L anyway. इंटरिम मैनेजर यूनाइटेड फैन भी लाइक ये खेल मैं पहले खेल चुका हूँ भाई, हम भी खेल चुके यार बहुत बार. लेकिन अगेन रिमेंबर, वी डोंट हैव अ हिडिंग एनीमोर, वी डोंट हैव अ एवराम ग्रांट एनीमोर, वी डोंट हैव बेसिकली से इवन अ डीमटेव एनीमोर. वो एक्टिव मैनेजर्स नहीं है. तो इवन जोला एटसेट्रा, पता नहीं, जो जोला आए थे अंडर सारी असिस्टेंट, रिमेंबर, आई डोंट नो. बट यस, जस्ट सो मच हैपनिंग एवरी डे, क्रेजी. लेकिन अगेन मैं आज खुश था भाई, मेरी टीम आरसीबी जीती है, बट दैट्स हाउ इट इज. एंड अगेन आई शुड बी हैप्पियर दैट फाइनली इज गॉन. बट सच में बोलूं, एकदम सच्चाई बोलूं, I am never happy with someone is sacked. I cannot like celebrate that. That's me. That's me as a person. Nothing against anyone who does that. That's just me as a person. But let's see what happens. But remember, आज basically it was written on the wall, ये होने वाला है. But we have also signed a player for people who might have missed. उस समय मैं क्रिकेट का स्ट्रीम कर रहा था on the other channel. Yes, people. By the way, 8K के congratulations नहीं बोल रहे यार, क्या हो रहा है आजकल भाई. सब लोग जो भी देखते हैं, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बिग अप टू यू, मच लव फॉर एवरीवन हु वॉचेस. आई नो दैट देयर आर नॉन चेल्सी फैंस हु वॉच अस लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स, एंड बिकॉज वी डू कंटेंट अबाउट नॉन चेल्सी एज वेल. भाई मच लव टू एवरीवन. लेकिन एक और हेल्प कर सकते हो सब लोग, ट्राई एंड शेयर आवर स्ट्रीम्स, ट्राई एंड शेयर वॉइस और चैनल टू अदर प्लेटफॉर्म, बिकॉज यू गाइज आर माई फैम ब्रो. एवरीवन, आप लोग मेरे एक्सटेंडेड फैम हो. And I really mean it. When you guys are my almighty fam, I mean it, because I'm not a college going kid. I'm not a guy who's just passed out of college. Yes, मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ. I'm very young. I can play better than a lot of Chelsea players hitting the ball on target. Challenge me. But at the same time, yeah, I don't have that circle of, say, friends who just passed out together just couple of years back. तो मैं एक WhatsApp में डाल देता हूँ, सब लोग शेयर करते. वैसा नहीं था मेरा from day one. तो यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा पापड़ बेलने वाला मामला है. तो लेकिन आई लव माई वर्क बिकॉज ऑफ यू गाइज ऑफ कोर्स. लेकिन आप लोग अगर वॉइस कर सकते हो और भी, एंड सो दैट नॉट ओनली 8K बट वी गेट टू 10K एंड बियॉन्ड. एवरी लाइक हेल्प्स, एवरी सब हेल्प्स, every bell notification icon helps, be it on Almighty Blues FC, be it on Almighty Sports Plus. Remember, we are here no matter what. रात के 3 बजते होते या दोपहर के 1 बजते, be it any draws, be it any breaking news, be it any watch alongs, we're always here. You know it, you know the facts as much as it's practically possible. लेकिन रॉजर्स एंड इंटरिम मैनेजर गौरव बोल रहे हैं, इंटरिम मैनेजर क्यों लेगा भाई, वो फुल टाइम मैनेजर था अभी. आई डोंट थिंक इज गोना टेक द जॉब ऑफ इंटरिम मैनेजर, सच में बोल तो. यस, रॉजर्स इतना एक्साइटिंग नहीं है, लेकिन याद रखिए रॉजर्स हैज बीन इन 2 फुल टाइम हाई प्रोफाइल मैनेजर्स यार. लेस्टर, विद ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट टू लेस्टर, यस दे हैव नॉट बीन डूइंग वेल रिसेंटली, लेकिन द फैक्ट इज लेस्टर आर स्टिल भाई वन ऑफ द फ्यू प्रीमियर लीग चैंपियंस, और उसने जिताया FA कप, प्लस द फैक्ट दैट ही वाज अ लिवरपूल मैनेजर. यस, लिवरपूल वर नॉट डूइंग एट दैट टाइम ग्रेट, लेकिन उनकी टीम अच्छी थी. तो और यस, वो थोड़ा बहुत चेल्सी को जानता है बिकॉज ही वाज अ यंग कोच एट चेल्सी, बट आई डोंट थिंक सो. डोंट गेट लुइस एनरिके, चेल्सी इज ओनली प्रीमियर लीग अदर क्लब अदर यूनाइटेड. आई डोंट वांट टू हेट चेल्सी भाई. लुइस एनरिके इतना हेट क्यों भाई? लेकिन टू बी ऑनेस्ट, लुइस एनरिके इज ग्रेट मैनेजर, लेकिन आई थिंक हिज ईगो कम्स अक्रॉस, और वो मुझे नहीं लगता ही विल गेट अलोंग वेल विद बर्लियन को. Can I just say Burley out? No, I cannot. That is the thing. Thanks यार, लेकिन अभी मैं सेलिब्रेट नहीं करूंगा क्योंकि मालूम है मुझे some people who subscribe will be unsubscribing after the stream because it happens every stream. I am lucky enough, I am fortunate enough to basically get a few haters. हर एक स्ट्रीम में होता है भाई, ये किसी के स्ट्रीम में होता है, हर एक स्ट्रीम में. Every stream it happens. 5 people subscribe, those 5 people unsubscribe after the stream क्योंकि मैं subscribers मोड में रखता हूँ भाई. जो people subscribe करते हैं, trust me, it doesn't cost you a buck, it doesn't cost you. लेकिन जो लोग किए हैं, much thanks for that, and you will never be disappointed. There is a lot of variety on the channel, and आप लोग चेक कर सकते हो हमारे 700 वीडियोस यहाँ पर, 200 वीडियोस on Almighty Blues FC. Shout out definitely to Devesh, Messi is good, Danish, Anmoldeep, Gaurav, देवांग, जोशुआ भाई, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, अभिषेक, एब्सोल्युटली ब्रो, एब्सोल्युटली, गौरव, एब्सोल्युटली, लाइक आई सेड भाई. अगेन, इफ आई हैव फॉरगॉटन टू गिव शाउट आउट्स टू एनीवन, यू ऑल नो माय ऑलमाइटी फैम हो देयर. प्रणव, रकीब, यस वी आर ऑलवेज फिनिश्ड ब्रो, बट स्टिल शाउट आउट आपको. इट डजंट मैटर, केयर फ्री, वी नो व्हाट वी आर, वो तो हम गाते रहेंगे नो मैटर व्हाट, लेकिन वी लव फुटबॉल, आई लव फुटबॉल. अर्पित, क्या हाल है भाई, नाइस टू सी यू एज वेल. आशीष, ऑफ कोर्स, जॉन टेरी ऑफ द हाउस, ऑलवेज हियर ब्रो, लेकिन कोई नहीं. उत्कर्ष एज वेल भाई, काफी लोग हैं अभी भी, देखिए चाहे 2:45 बजे होते हैं और व्हाट नॉट, यू गाइस आर हियर. Bayern haven't cancelled, so Chelsea have to pay a compensation fee. Okay, interesting that. Okay, Danish, I got it. चलो कोई नहीं. बर्ली को सेंसिबल डिसीजन में बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. अरे देवेश यार, मच लव टू यू. मैं बोला था पॉटर सही ऑप्शन नहीं है, याद है बिल्कुल भाई. गौरव, आप क्या मतलब, याद है, किसी को याद है? लेट्स गो बैक टू माई ओन चैनल, लेट्स गो बैक टू अदर्स चैनल जहां पर मुझे इनवाइट किया जाता था पहले. लोग, व्हेन सपोजिटली वी वर क्राउड पुलर्स, पीपल यूज्ड टू कॉल अस. I would still say I know as much football as what I used to know 6 months back, but anyway, just saying. So basically, when I went to other channels, I was told कि अंकित भैया आप इतना नेगेटिव क्यों हो रहे हो? And again, I'm not happy with Potter, trust me on that. लेकिन ये मेरा स्टेटमेंट था, भाई आप इतना नेगेटिव क्यों हो रहे हो? बेसिकली चेल्सी को अपना डीएनए चेंज करना है, चेल्सी को बेसिकली टाइम देना पड़ेगा, या हारे या जीते, यू शुड नॉट केयर, यू शुड गो फॉर इट. लेकिन भाई, विद ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट टू एवरीवन, खाली 25 साल देखे भाई मैंने चेल्सी, खाली 25 साल, एंड उस 25 सालों में 23 साल मैंने एक भी मैच मिस नहीं किया. एंड आई मीन लाइव, यस ऑन टीवी, बट लाइव, एब्सोल्युटली, बीट व्हाटएवर ओकेजन इट इज पर्सनली, एंड आई नो व्हाट आई हैव लॉस्ट. फिर भी बेसिकली मुझे बोला जाता है कि मुझे पता नहीं चेल्सी का डीएनए क्या है. Bring that, and that is why I'm proud of my almighty fam and proud of us, because yes, I don't want anyone out of the job, but Was I convinced with Potter? Yes, मैंने बोला था उन 3 मैचेस के लिए that he is getting finally a Potter philosophy, but ये चीज मैं writing on the wall था. Was I like wow Potter is awesome, back Potter? Never. मैंने हमेशा बोला है jury is out or Potter out or basically Potter has never convinced me. कहां जाएगा? एक चीज हो सकता है, everyone listen to it very very carefully. Potter has got a lot of money from Chelsea. Yes, I feel sorry for anyone losing the job, लेकिन it's not as sorry as you feel it is. It'll be sorry for a couple of days. भाई बहुत पैसे लेकर गया है, एक सीवी पर गया. Yes, he was sad, but he was Chelsea manager after all. वो एक प्राउड चीज है. Let's be honest. और पॉटर कहां जाएगा? ये बात हम बात ही नहीं की अभी तक. Potter, in my personal opinion, will go to, listen to this, Leicester City. I think he's going to Leicester City. I think Leicester City and Potter are made for each other, bro. How many of you disagree with this comment? I think it is made for each other. यहाँ पर कोई coincidence नहीं है. कुछ बातें हुई होगी आज, and then meanwhile possibly Leicester City has contacted Potter also. I feel ये gut feel बोल रहा हूँ, कोई news नहीं है. I'm just saying that this is basically my point of view. Leicester City and Potter kind of are made for each other. I really believe that. But anyway, yes, Leicester City, even I think so. That is perfect for him. बट कोई नहीं. क्रिश्चियन फॉक के ट्वीट देखो अंकित भाई, मैंने लिंक डाला था, डिलीट हो गया. अच्छा हाँ, लिंक मत डालो यार, लेकिन बोल दो. कोई नहीं, बिग अप टू यू फॉर शेयरिंग इन माय ब्रो, एब्सोल्युटली अप्रिशिएट इट. लेकिन क्रिश्चियन फॉक के देखते क्या डाला है भाई उसने, क्रिश्चियन फॉक ने. ओके चलो भाई देख लेते हैं. चलो थैंक्स फॉर शेयरिंग ब्रो. जोशुआ के को बिग शाउट आउट है यहाँ पर. यहाँ पर अगेन मैं डालने वाला हूँ पीपल. आई थिंक सम मोर थिंग्स कमिंग इन. Christian Falk बोल रहा है understand that Chelsea are the preferred solution of Julian Nagelsmann compared to Tottenham. तो seems like Real Madrid ने अभी तक formal approach नहीं किया है. तो seems like Real Madrid अभी भी Ancelotti को expect कर रहे हैं. But things might change after the Copa del Rey. I really feel that. If Chelsea want Julian Nagelsmann, the club has to pay a transfer fee to Bayern. Bayern would be also happy that they don't have to pay the salary of Nagelsmann anymore. Oh my God. भाई Chelsea are not taking the right route यार. Again, it was written on the wall, but क्या कर सकते हैं. But Nagelsmann is on the shortlist, and the agents of Nagelsmann have a good connection to the club. Timo Werner is at the same agency. Okay, basically वही है. Christopher Wewell and team, we all know that जो Chelsea में है already. Understand that Chelsea are the preferred solution of Nagelsmann. So basically other side से भी अभी पता चल गया कि यार not only Chelsea is interested, but Nagelsmann भी interested Chelsea आने में. So looks like 50% of the job is done. अब 50% बाकी क्या है कि नेक्स्ट 2 दिन में कोपा डेल रे में बाई चांस, अगर मैं चाहता नहीं हूं लेकिन बाई चांस अगर कोपा डेल रे में रियल मैड्रिड हार जाती है, आई कैन सी दैट कमिंग एज वेल. इट्स रियल मैड्रिड. चेल्सी अगर सैक करती है रियल मैड्रिड, भाई चेल्सी का बाप है, एंड आई लव माय क्लब एंड आई नो दैट वी आर वन ऑफ द टॉप क्लब्स, लेकिन रियल मैड्रिड इन टर्म्स ऑफ सैकिंग मैनेजर्स बीट इवन एंचेलोटी वो लोग कर देंगे, एंड दैट इज व्हाट दे आर. अगर उनको भनक भी पड़ी ना कि नागल्समैन थोड़ा इंटरेस्टेड होगा हमारे जॉब में, प्रीटी मच श्योर ही विल बी फास्ट. तो ही माइट डू इट, एंड दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग पोचेटिनो हमें मिले नहीं यार एज अ बैकअप. I won't want that. I'm okay with any manager. Luis Enrique भी ठीक है, Nagelsmann भी ठीक है, Hansi Flick भी ठीक है, Zidane भी ठीक है, of course. लेकिन again, remember those managers are big names. Will they come if we don't have Europe? That's a big question. Unless वो लोग Premier League experience करना चाहते हैं. But remember, Allegri ball चाहिए क्या? नहीं यार, नहीं. बिल्कुल. अरे दानिश, much love to you. Hire and fire works for us instant results. But again, कभी ना कभी we have to settle, but let's see what it is. Most Bayern related sources have revealed that Julian Nagelsmann won't take a job till June. हाँ, वो न्यूज़ था जोशुआ किमिक till this morning, till yesterday morning अब technically. लेकिन things can change in football very soon. मैंने आज I don't know, मुझे नाम नहीं याद है, मैंने आज पोल डाला था राइट, और मैंने एक शॉर्ट्स वीडियो डाला था, उसमें एक कमेंट आया था, और मैंने एक्चुअली भाई any members in the chat, गौरव आप मेंबर हो ना, can we have Ancelotti's if you don't mind Ancelotti's emojis on the chat please. मैंने इमोजीज, मेंबर इमोजीज नए अपडेट किए पीपल, इवन मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड के लिए किए हैं, एज वेल एज लिवरपूल के लिए किए हैं, एज वेल एज रियल मैड्रिड के लिए किए हैं, एज वेल एज बार्सिलोना के लिए किए, एंड मैंने बायर्न का भी डाला है. एनी मेंबर्स इन द चैट? मैं गौरव को देख रहा हूँ अभी, लेकिन हाँ, इफ यू कैन हैव एंचेलोटीज इमोजी इन द चैट. और उसमें जवाब आया था कि यार एंचेलोटी ब्राजील जा रहा है, वो ऑलमोस्ट पक्का हो गया. बट दैट्स द थिंग, इट्स ऑलमोस्ट. The reason I still would prefer Ancelotti over anyone, even over Nagelsmann. Yes, वो एक 4-5 साल वाला मैनेजर नहीं है, वो एक 2-3 साल वाला मैनेजर होगा at best if at all. लेकिन Ancelotti knows Chelsea. Ancelotti has unfinished business in Chelsea. Ancelotti is still respected. Ancelotti still plays good football. ठीक है, और Ancelotti commands basically respect ही नहीं, basically एक arm around the shoulder वाला मैनेजर है, तो इतने सारे issues नहीं होंगे. So for me, and Ancelotti always requires good owners. I believe so in terms of money. तो everything kind of ticks the box. तो मुझे लगता है Ancelotti will be the preferred manager if he's available. तो if Brazil are going for him and he's going for Brazil, fair enough. 2 दिन बाद कोपा डेल रे के बाद में देखते हैं थिंग्स चेंज. लेकिन अदरवाइज ऑन द अदर हैंड, अगर अगर उसका माइंड चेंज हो जाए, मीनवाइल हम बात करते हैं एंचेलोटी के कैंप से कि आर यू और वुड यू कंसीडर, आई नो दैट वी आर गोइंग टू प्ले रियल मैड्रिड इन अबाउट अ वीक्स टाइम, लेकिन वुड यू कंसीडर, इट्स अ वेरी रॉन्ग टाइमिंग, दैट्स व्हाई मैं क्वेश्चन करूंगा टाइमिंग का थोड़ा, मतलब will his mind change after 2 days? I don't know. Just saying. Anyway, let's see. Pochettino, Real Madrid, the Barca fan, I will love it, and I think I deserve it. What do Real Madrid fans think about it? Let me know. Anyone can get sacked and fans will tolerate, but Glazers will not even try to sack ETH. But वो तो deserve ही नहीं करता anyway. But yeah, a lot of conversation हमने किया है बात, literally every managerial option. Bruno जो अपने interim coach है for the time being, जो coaching setup में थे ब्राइटन के as well as Chelsea के under Potter, उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा बात किया हमने. बात किया बेसिकली पॉटर का क्या होगा, पॉसिबली चेल्सी प्लेयर्स का क्या होगा. आई थिंक वी हैव कवर्ड मोस्ट ऑफ द एस्पेक्ट्स, हैवंट वी? प्लस द फैक्ट कि अब नागल्समैन तैयार है if he's not getting a third option anytime soon, so we might actually pull the trigger soon. देखते हैं. Ancelotti plus Snake, will you be happy? That's a deal. अरे भाई साहब, नहीं यार, Snake नहीं आएगा वापस. Come on, it's just Ancelotti आएगा. Snake तो वापस नहीं आएगा. But just saying, Nagelsmann doesn't have this kind of player at Chelsea. He plays like a 3-1-6 or something. नहीं, Joshua Kimmich he has. To be honest, 3 the back Chelsea का DNA है for the recent years. I think it's okay. He sometimes जो मैं देखा हूँ, maybe the big matches, Nagelsmann जहाँ हमने देखा है, he actually goes, he plays like a 3-4-1-2 और 3-4-2-1 वो खेलता है, and that is something that Chelsea ने Champions League जीता था not very far back. So I think we'll be fine, we'll be absolutely fine. Do I want that in the long run? Honest opinion, honest to God, I wanted us to play 4-3-3, और मैं लास्ट सीजन के मिड सीजन से बात कर रहा हूँ on my stream and on other channels. आप लोग सुन लियो जो लोग मुझे फॉलो करते हो. But can that be the priority? No. First thing is we need back the stability, we need back the form, we need Chelsea back. यार, bring back my Chelsea is what I would say. We don't want इतना सारा volatility. जोसे मोरिन्यो अगेन, कॉन्टे जोसे मोरिन्यो का मैं अग्री करूंगा. बैटमैन, बाय द वे लॉन्ग टाइम नो सी बैटमैन कहां आजकल, लेकिन जोशुआ किमिक ने बोला ना नागल्समैन के बारे में, वो चीज मैं जोसे मोरिन्यो कॉन्टे के लिए डिसएग्री करूंगा, क्योंकि हमारे पास जैसे प्लेयर्स है, वी डोंट हैव द फाइटर्स दैट कॉन्टे एंड जोसे मोरिन्यो वांट, वी डोंट हैव दैट, ऑनेस्ट टू गॉड. तो वहां पर आई थिंक आई नीड नागल्समैन, जिडान, लुइस एनरिके, एंचेलोटी, वो फिट करते हैं बेटर बिल इन टर्म्स ऑफ द प्लेयर्स. नहीं तो वापस से हम 600 मिलियन ही स्पेंड करेंगे ना, 600 मिलियन नहीं, चलो वापस से 300 मिलियन ही स्पेंड करेंगे, प्रीटी श्योर दैट्स हाउ इट इज. बट एनीवे, इट माइट बी अ वर्स्ट सीजन यार चेल्सी का तो एटलीस्ट. हाँ, बिकॉज आई थिंक उन्होंने टेक्निकली वो एंड नहीं किया. आई थिंक कुछ तो क्लॉज होगा, मैंने अभी भी शेयर ही किया था वो ट्वीट, बेसिकली क्रिश्चियन फॉक ने भी शेयर किया, दैट बेसिकली जो पेंशन है और जो कॉम्पनसेशन है, दैट आई थिंक हैज नॉट बीन पेड टू नागल्समैन येट, बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट बेसिकली वो ऑफिशियली देयर माइट बी अ क्लॉज अबाउट एन एंड डेट कब पे करना है. अब बिकॉज वो नहीं हुआ, और अब उस बीच में अगर वो दूसरा जॉब ले लेता है, तब उनका ड्यूटी है टू पे. तो दैट्स द क्लॉज अबाउट प्रणव. बट नहीं, MIS नो वे, दैट्स डिसरेस्पेक्ट टू द वुमेन्स टीम इफ शी कम्स, एंड आई वुड लव हर, बट नो वेज. नहीं, बट देखिए यार, जोशुआ किमिक, हम ना फॉर्मेशंस को बहुत ही स्ट्रिक्टली लेते हैं, कभी 3-1-6 ले रहे हैं, बट कम ऑन. So when I say a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-2-1 or basically a 3-5-2, that could turn into a 3-1-6 when we are attacking. Absolutely. So I would disagree with this comment. Yes, आपके पास पर्सनल ऐसे हैं जो ज्यादा अटैक करे than defend, but है हमारे पास भाई. That is what I'm saying. That is why we don't defend well as a team. We don't current squad. But anyway, just saying. Yes, he's on their payroll. लेकिन Joshua Kimmich, until basically he gets a job, तो बाई चांस बेसिकली उसको सैक किया गया, तो ये होता है बेसिकली सेवरेंस पे होता है. तो सेवरेंस पे फॉर एनीवन हु वर्कड इंटरनेशनली वुड नो दैट एज वेल, और बहुत सारे अभी इंडिया में हो गया, बट सेवरेंस पे होता है. तो बेसिकली सेवरेंस पे का यही क्लॉज होता है दैट यू आर सैकिंग एंड दैट पर्सन इज नॉट गेटिंग अ जॉब, क्योंकि वो जॉब नहीं मिलती, उसके लिए कॉम्पनसेशन देती है क्लब. बेसिकली दैट इज व्हाट इट इज. सो अंटिल यू गेट दैट क्लॉज रहता है बहुत लोगों का कि आपको पे मिलता जाएगा या बेसिकली आपको एक सेवरेंस पे मिलेगा, तो बेसिकली उस क्लॉज में, तो इफ ही गेट्स अ जॉब, दैट जॉब विल पे हिम, सो दैट जॉब दे आर सपोज्ड टू पे हिज सैलरी, सिंपल एज दैट। प्रथम क्या हाल है भाई, एवरीवन बिग अप यार, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक्स फॉर 8K, इतना मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ भाई, कोई भी अनसब्सक्राइब मत करना, थोड़ी सी इतनी सी खुशी जो मिली है ना वो भी चल जाएगी, कम ऑन। आज आरसीबी जीती है, यस मैं आरसीबी फैन हूँ, बट आई सपोर्ट द एंटायर sport, you all know that, as well as football, Chelsea fan हूँ, मिलान भी जीत रही है, that is great to know, but again that's how it is. Thanks for 8K, but we'll get to 10K hopefully with all your help. Try spreading the word as much as possible. Big up, yes absolutely Aditya, Nagelsmann, let's see most probable for the job. Again मुझे मालूम है आप लोग शायद सो रहे होंगे या दूसरे स्ट्रीम्स में होंगे, आप लोग अभी आ रहे हो भाई, हमने एक घंटा 20 मिनट से बात किया है, बहुत डिटेल में बात किया है. I actually had an immensely great panel joining us today. For people who do not know Taron, he is a local living in London. भाई हर एक सेकंड चेल्सी मैच में वो जाता है in person. He has been there. वो चैनल के पहले स्ट्रीम से है and he was here. Travis was here again, international fan who's been to Stamford Bridge, and we had to get such people today absolutely because I wanted what is happening around the club. वो वाला एक impression चाहिए था. Plus मेरा भी काफी सारा मैंने दिया है व्यूज, तो आप लोग डेफिनेटली चेक करना फॉर पीपल हु माइट हैव मिस्ड द स्ट्रीम, बट अगेन आपके व्यूज भी आप देते थे जाओ, टेंशन नहीं लेने का, लेकिन कोई नहीं, we will get through this period. Opposition fans are happy about it, I know, but that's how it is sometimes. But DJ Sav in the house, DJ Sav again an OG of the channel, people. Bigger brother, hope you're well. What a great weekend this has turned out to be. He will not be getting 60 million payout. Oh, is it? Okay, this is news to me. This is news to me. Can you confirm, DJ Sav, who has confirmed that, or have I missed something? I actually did not hear this part. I thought that he'll definitely be getting the payout. Pretty much sure it's a sacking, right? Don't tell me that he's got another job and he's walked out. Pretty much sure. But Potter to Leicester is trending, people. Potter to Leicester is trending. I think that might be a reality too. Has he got the job and that is why basically we are not paying him? Would that be thing? I don't know. But oh wow, this is going to be interesting. But let me know, DJ Saab, agar aap abhi bhi ho, please let me know. Aapko, where did you get this news about us not having to pay Nagelsmann? Is it true news? If anyone can confirm me in the chat, please. It'll help me. Even I'm trying to browse यहाँ पर. Meanwhile, ये options अभी आ रहे. I don't know if you guys are able to see. Nagelsmann, Rodgers, Luis Enrique, Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Thomas Frank. Yes, we were interested in Diego Simeone, of course. John Terry, Roberto De Zerbi, and Zinedine Zidane. Mera favorite, if you ask me, we are not linked to that guy, is Ancelotti. He's my favorite, if you really ask me. That is my number one choice. Best fit for Chelsea is Ancelotti. He knows the Premier League, he knows Chelsea, and he is someone जो एक जितना ज़्यादा टेंशन नहीं लेता, साथ साथ में आईब्रो उठाता है, पैशन दिखता है, और someone who plays good football, gets you results, is a winning mentality coach. But second option मेरे लिए after Ancelotti है, to be honest, nothing against anyone, Zinedine Zidane is my second option. People might assume कि मैं Real Madrid fan हूँ, nowhere close, I'm not. But someone who inspires the team is what I want first right now. मैं short term देख रहा हूँ, मैं long term project में अभी नहीं देख रहा मैं अभी. I know मैं थोड़ा old school हूँ, Chelsea का DNA ऐसे हो गया है, but अभी देख रहा हूँ short term में I want back my club and then let's see how it goes. ठीक है, that's how I am. Third choice है मेरा, if you really ask me, is definitely Nagelsmann. ठीक है, लेकिन अगर तीनों ही नहीं मिल रहा अभी right away, I would rather, I know Bruno है अपने कोच जो बन रहे हैं अभी interim. I would rather have a John Terry, Frank Lampard and Zola or Czech doing the job for the timing. सच में बोलूं तो. Anyway, just for this season. He just sacked in Germany. There's a thing where you are on indefinite suspension. Don't understand if except many Dortmund coaches have done it. He technically had a demotion only and not a sack. Okay. Looking for your video in the morning. Tell about the information and players which could be important in that. समझ में नहीं आ जाता what you're looking for. But anyway, basically we did a watch along last night, bro. हम 3.5 घंटे के लिए बात की थी. We did a detailed watch along. Then we also discussed about, basically the options for Chelsea. हम short भी निकाले थे. We do release a lot of shorter videos. People who might not have hit the bell notification icon on either channels, और Almighty Sports Plus पे भी है. Zakaria Oba Chukwuemeka, I would say put in even Ziyech to some extent. I know, right, written on the wall. Lekin I think Ziyech, Datro Fofana, Chukwuemeka, Zakaria, Aubameyang will be happier. Mudryk as well. Enrique third rank pe hai. Okay. Okay. Clause apparently in his contract. Okay. Clause states if Chelsea sack him while we are bottom half the table. Oh my God. Bhai Sahab, Todd Burley and co are definitely at the same time look like fools, man, but they are not. They know their stuff. ऐसे billionaires ही बन जाते हैं भाई, really. So DJ Sav has just broken that there's a journalist who's basically said that if we are in the bottom half of the table, he will get only half the amount. So it's not going to be 60 million, but it's going to be 25, 30 million still. Pretty much big amount. Plus, on top of that, the 21 million we paid for him. So it's totally about 45 million that we're going to pay for about the entire period of 7 months. 7 months is what he was at the helm. Too much, but again, I would not mind सच में बोलूं तो if I am having that money. New manager के अंडर कौन प्लेयर रहते हैं पुराने में से? Exactly, that's question mark, big question. लेकिन it depends again. Mason Mount, Joao Felix, what is the future? I don't know. सच में देखते हैं. I'm really concerned right now उनके दोनों के status में. Basically Nagelsmann tactics, I'm saying if he's selected. I haven't watched Bundesliga that much. Okay, got it, fair enough. But again, much love for everyone here. DJ Sav, again, shout out to you. Thanks for coming on as always, bro. But again, Aditya Gupta, Gaurav, of course, Pranav, of course, Joshua Kimmich, Deepak, Pratham, Sanket, Tiger Beach, of course. Lot of them, भाई अभी तक है. Batman, Danish, सबको Messi is good. सबको big shout out देवेश, of course. ठीक है, तो भाई सब लोग राकीब भूलेगा मत. We will be live tomorrow as well. Rather today अब हो गया है. Yes, some things more might come and we might actually talk about it. Maybe daytime stream करें हम. और रात को वापस क्रिकेट होगा ऑन ऑलमाइटी स्पोर्ट्स प्लस. बिफोर दैट वी माइट डिस्कस द लिवरपूल गेम. अब क्या होगा पता नहीं. ब्रूनो का टैक्टिक्स किसी समवन नोज? डज एनीवन रिमेंबर ब्रूनो प्लेइंग फॉर ब्राइटन? ही प्लेड राइट बैक फॉर ब्रूनो सॉल्टर जो अपना इंटरिम कोच है. जस्ट सेइंग. बट एनीवे देखते हैं. अगेन व्हाट फॉर्मेशंस प्लेयर्स वुड टारगेट, एवरीथिंग इज इन देयर. आदित्य अभी अब बात तब करेंगे मे बी इफ यू आर नोइंग समथिंग ऑफ ब्रूनो. वी डोंट. अगर कोई इंटरिम मैनेजर आता जो बेसिकली वी न्यू अबाउट, देन मे बी वी वुड हैव स्पोकन मच अबाउट इट. लेकिन अगेन एज अ प्लेयर ही माइट हैव डन स्टफ. मैनेजर अब कौन पता यार, वो कोच है, नॉट अ मैनेजर रियली, राइट? एनीवे, बट अगेन मच लव एवरीवन टू कम ऑन. भाई 1.5 घंटे हो गए ऑलमोस्ट, 3:30 बजे से ऊपर हो गया. बिग अप टू एवरीवन हु हैज बीन हियर. अगेन कमिजरेशंस टू भाई पॉटर. लेकिन सच में बोलो तो पैसे मिल रहे. इट्स नॉट टू बैड. इज गॉट दैट ऑन हिज सीवी. बट अगेन कंसर्न फॉर चेल्सी फॉर श्योर. सब लोग जो खुशी मना रहे हैं, it is more like a relief more than खुशी for me, but at the same time we don't celebrate things like that. But Napoli losing to Milan, yes, Napoli जीत रही है the league in the canter, but remember ये एक replay होगा. Champions League में they are playing each other, so it will have a subplot. Napoli losing to Milan, Leao, Brace, Diaz, Salamakers. तो भाई Forza Milan in the chat हो जाए. Let's have some Giroud emojis in the chat for me, please. Can you anyone put some Giroud emojis in the chat just for me? And again, I know that there are Bayern Munich fans. I know if any members are around, let's put that. But anyway, Luis Enrique, Nagelsmann front runners for the job. Yes, I think that's pretty much expected. But let's see who comes in. Again, you guys can let me know what your thoughts are. But again, up the Chelsea, no matter what, हम करेंगे वापस चेल्सी लिवरपूल के बारे में बात. हम करेंगे और भी फुटबॉल के बारे में बात. Yes, Brendan Rodgers has also been sacked. It's a day that we cannot forget. Meanwhile, just a mini news, लेकिन RCB has won a match after a long time in the Chinnaswamy. वो है Almighty Sports का टॉक्स. वहां पर हम न्यूट्रल वॉच अलॉन्ग्स भी करेंगे. बट अभी के लिए इतना ही है. It's getting to what 3:15 in the morning in India. Big up to everyone who are here. Again, जो लोग मिस कर दिए can always watch back the stream. Always a fan channel for all to see. Love you all. Tata bye bye. Let's hope for the best. But support your team no matter what.